What's going on, coffee friends? Eric here. Hope you're all doing good today. Let's get right into it. We're going over this grinder here. This is the HiBREW G5 grinder. Definitely the most affordable, least expensive espresso dedicated grinder I've ever owned. So we're gonna do a couple things. We're gonna talk about if this grinder is worth it. We're going to take it apart a little bit and compare some burrs to other burrs and other grinders. And we're going to test it out and go over the features. Before we get started on this video, I do want to mention that you can give me a like, you can subscribe, and you can give me comments. I'm a small channel, I'm trying to grow. I really appreciate every single like, comment, and subscription that I get. It is a big deal to me, and I do want to keep doing this. I want to keep growing this channel. I also want to mention that I do have affiliate links down below for most of the stuff that I use in this video. The only exception being that the HiBREW direct website link is not an affiliate link, but that might be the way to get a better deal on this grinder. First things first, I want to talk about the price of this grinder. This grinder goes for about $220 on Amazon, though just like everything else in like the non-major brand espresso world on Amazon, there's constantly like $20 off coupons, $30 off coupons, 25% off things going on. So that's like the list price, but it seems like it's never actually costs $220. On the HiBREW website, as of the time of the recording of this video, they list it for $170. So if you buy directly from HiBREW, then you get this for $170, which is very, very cheap. I will say that that's probably subject to change with all sorts of weird tariff stuff going on, and who knows what's gonna happen with prices with things that are coming from China. I don't know, but right now, $170, that is a very inexpensive espresso grinder, if it works. I will also say that I did not pay for this grinder. HiBREW sent it to me. They said I can make a review on it. They said I don't have to show it to them first. I don't have to say if I like it or don't like it. They just said to review it, and that's something that I want to do because I'm very interested in this grinder. For the price, it is a pretty sturdy feeling grinder. It is made out of aluminum alloy, so the body itself is metal. The base is also metal. The hopper is plastic, as are the actual burr holder here. It is a stepless grinder, meaning a stepless grinder just means that it doesn't have clicks. It's not like some grinders where you hear a little click like when we were putting on the settings. So because there's no clicks, it's essentially you can go as tiny of a movement or as big of a movement as you want. Let's say you say, oh, my setting's on a 10 right now. 9 is, I want to go to a 9. You can go in between the two. You can go a quarter of the way in between the two, halfway in between the two. Limitless options as far as that goes. That's what stepless means. It comes with some bellows here. Bellows are the way that you pump, espresso, grind. Any grind that might get retained into a grinder that helps push it out. That's how most low retention grinders are built these days. They're not actually low retention, they just have bellows, and that pumps out everything you have in there. What does it come with in the box? It comes with the grinder, it comes with a little pad here, it comes with a catch cup or little grinder cup that is magnetic, which is nice. I always love a little magnetic feature. I will say though, if you use this little rubber pad, the magnet doesn't really work well, so you know, it's one or the other kind of situation. It also comes with a little scoop and brush that seems to come with everything. So we never use those scoops. And it comes with a little wrench if you want to take it apart all the way. That's what you get. It has a 3-prong cord here, a pretty heavy duty cord. And that is what the long and short of what you're getting in the box is. This little grinder also has some cool things, like it has an adjustable base. You can grind with it straight up, or if you want to get a little bit different retention, maybe lower the retention, you can grind it on an angle. In my experience, it hasn't really changed the actual amount of retention it's giving you, but it does. It's cool. It's nice to have that feature. It's a thoughtful touch. The burrs themselves are 48mm conical burrs, a little bit bigger than most of the burrs in the $200-ish price range for grinders. So you have 40mm burrs on the Fellow Opus. You got 40mm burrs on your Encore ESP. 40mm burrs on your Sette 270. So a lot of mid-entry level conical burr grinders have 40mm. This is 48mm. Bigger isn't always better, and we're learning this as the more dorky YouTube coffee videos come out. Burr size is not really about, I mean, yeah, you have a bigger potential for greater performance there, but it's all about how the burrs are made, how they're cut, how they're designed. Anyway, 48mm burrs. Another cool thing that this has is it has a variable speed. Now, so you can choose between the 500 rotations per minute and the 400 rotations per minute speeds. Not a big difference, and one of the things I'm going to do at the end of this video is I'm going to pull 2 shots, and I'm going to see if I can taste any difference between those 2 shots. I'm going to try to keep the variables as close in the middle beyond that as I can, but I'm just going to do that. But you have 2 speeds. That's kind of fun. That's cool. A couple other features: it has a 165 watt motor, and then it also has anti-static technology built into the burrs, and also the burrs are supposedly quick heat dissipating, and that is the long and short of what this grinder has. So it's a solidly built, inexpensive espresso dedicated grinder. This grinder here does have other settings. It goes on the dial here all the way over to pour over. It goes as fine as Turkish. It can do those things, it just doesn't do them well. It really is designed for espresso, and even the people at HiBREW said that. They said it's just really meant for espresso. So yeah, it's an espresso grinder. All right, so I'm gonna be running a few shots using some coffee from Red Rooster out in Virginia. This is a cool roaster. I've been there. Really nice place. Very, very dedicated to taking care of their employees. Talented roaster, and also when you are ordering it through a subscription service like Trade, which I will link below if you're interested in looking for a subscription service, they are very affordable. I'm going to be doing grinding in 18.6 grams. We're going to see how it does with the retention on there. Oh, I guess you got to plug these in. Another negative is that you have to actually plug in the grinder. It's not, I've tried running it without electricity. It doesn't do anything. So popcorning, not too bad. Nothing flew out and hit me in the face while I was grinding those grinders. Really pounding on these bellows to get any grind out. And let's see what we got out here. So I put 18.6 in, I got 18.6 out. That doesn't mean that it has 0 retention. It just means, it could mean that there was some grind in here. The retention is low when you use the bellows. If you don't use the bellows, retention is not great. It's like 1.5 grams. But as soon as you use the bellows, you're gonna get a bunch of coffee out of there. So let's just say that it does a good job of giving you a consistent dose. I'll also point out that this is a relatively, it's not too loud. It's not crazy loud like a Baratza Sette 270 or an Encore ESP. It is a relatively quiet grinder. All right, so let's check out this grind quality. Boop, boop, doodle-doo-doop, pa, pa. One thing I've noticed is that though it has this really cool magnetic little catch cup, it does actually get a bit stuck in there, so you're gonna have to pound on the catch cup a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, it comes out. So compared to a Sette 270, which is a grinder I've been working with a bit lately, this is a little bit clumpier. You're gonna want a WDT tool to break up these clumps. You're gonna want a collar or shot funnel or shot collar, whatever, or a portafilter collar, portafilter funnel, whatever you wanna call them, so you don't lose a lot of grind. Those are really more just preference things. They're not necessary. They will improve your experience a bit. Let's pull this shot, see how it looks, see how it tastes. Doing a pretty standard recipe here, 18 grams in, 36 grams out, hoping for between 25 and 30 seconds for that extraction time. Not bad, borderline a little bit fast. Just a tiny bit fast, but I'm going to just go maybe a little, I'm gonna do a half step finer for that. Anyway, from experience with this particular coffee, I know that kind of a faster running shot does taste okay. All right, that is espresso. That is a bright shot. A little bit of a baker's chocolate kind of bitterness there, some kind of fruitiness in there, something akin to mild strawberry-like acidity. So this is an okay shot, even though I gotta dial it in a little bit better. All right, so that's that. That's it. It can make espresso. Yeah, it does fine. It's not bad. not bad at all. What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to run another couple set of shots. I'm going to run them on the different RPMs. A little bit finer, because breaking clumps is hard to do. Okay, we're doing this one, our standard RPMs. I'm just gonna stop this extraction at 36. Yeah, okay. If you hold in the button instead of just press it, the light lights up blue. That means you're getting a slower RPM, 400 RPMs. You can hear the difference. Actually, it does sound slower. Yeah, let's see if it made any difference at all as far as the flavor of the espresso. So we're gonna make sure we get as close as we can to the initial recipe here. Just a tiny bit out here. What do we got? Okay, that's about right. All right, that's a good extraction right there. That's a good looking shot. We're gonna see if there's any noticeable difference. This is the 500 RPMs shot here. It's had a lot more time to cool, but let's see. That's fantastic. That is a good shot. There's a certain like roundness to the mouthfeel that I really like. Yeah, this one was dialed in a little bit better than my first shots that I ran on this grinder today. That dark chocolate, but a little bit more like raspberry-ish kind of flavor to it. Great mouthfeel. This is a good shot. Okay, the palate cleanser. By the way, my dentist told me, rinse your mouth after you drink coffee or your teeth will be real yellow. Okay, 400 RPMs. Every transfer of liquid, you lose temperature. So I'm just cooling it down a little bit to make it more like the first shot that I tasted. Okay, there is a slight difference. I don't feel like this is a perfectly scientific scenario. Not enough controls in place to really give me a definitive answer. If I had two espresso machines set up, had it dialed in, and had them both run at the same time, and it was a blind taste test, I would have more confidence. But this is a better shot. They're both good. This one just has a ever so slightly better balance in the cup. Just the flavors are a little less muddled, and things just kind of are easier to taste. You can just really enjoy the flavor. Like it's very like acute. It's great. A little bit more tangy, a little bit more acidic in a good way. But like I said, not 100% accurate. But the point is that if you had this grinder, you could play with this and it would be fun for you. If you're a coffee nerd, it's a fun thing. Both 500 and 400 RPMs gave me good shots. I don't know if 100 RPMs will really give you a big difference, but it's kind of cool to have that to play with, so it's really a fun feature. All right, moving on. All right, let's clean up a little bit. This is starting to get messy here. This is a YouTube video, not a barn. Sweep up your grinds, baby. Sweep up your grinds, girl. I think what I want to do next is I want to take this guy apart and look at the burrs compared to a couple other grinders. So to take them apart, it's very, very easy. You just go counterclockwise and you just do about, I think, 5 or so full rotations. And it's just gonna pop off. So we'll take a look at those internal burrs. So the whole thing just pops apart very easily. Every grinder on the market, no matter how expensive or how cheap, you're going to want to take it apart, ideally at least monthly, and you're gonna wanna clean it out. Because no matter how good of a grinder it is, no matter how much you love it, you do have to take care of it. And I'd say there's about half a gram retained in there. So supposedly 48 millimeters here. Taking a look at it compared to the Sette, I think what I can say, just kind of going eyeballing, the Sette has a much more gradual slope, and it goes into a kind of a less aggressive tooth on the bottom. This guy right here, the HiBREW G5, has a more real cone-shaped conical burr, and the actual teeth on the bottom are a bit more aggressive than the ones on the Sette 270. We're looking at burrs, quite a few more cuts in between on each fin. So it is a more aggressively styled grinder burr. I will say, though I'm no expert at burr geometry, burr design, I will say that though this is, I cannot figure out for the life of me how a conical burr is measured. Visibly, the 40 millimeter and this G5 48 millimeter look exactly the same to me. Measuring at the base about the same. I just really don't know how they do it, how they choose to measure it. Now, one thing I will say that you're getting a 5-point conical burr on the G5. You're getting a 6-point conical burr on both the Sette 270 and on the fellow Opus. I just don't see how this is 48 millimeter burrs. As far as I can tell measuring, they are the same size. So I think that this might be a little bit of marketing, or maybe they're just choosing to measure it a little differently. I've seen this in a few other companies that they're kind of liberal with their measurements, or they use a different kind of measurement that is not, there's no standard. I mean, there's no one to really enforce this stuff. You can say whatever you want, but that does not take away from the fact that the grinder does a good job for its price range and for what it's going for. I just want to say that maybe the 48 millimeter thing is iffy. So what we're talking about here is design of a burr and whether or not it's designed in a way that will give you grind accuracy and be designed in a way that will actually highlight the chosen brew method, in this case espresso. Whether or not this company is guilty of trying to hype up the size of their burrs, neither here nor there. Does this do an okay job for espresso? Yes, absolutely. So in the price range for roughly $200, actually this being a little bit cheaper than $200 depending on how you buy it, this really does have an edge compared to other grinders like the Baratza Encore ESP or the fellow Opus, because you have a lot more settings for espresso. Because this is a stepless grinder, you're going to have a lot more range here for your espresso. It has lower retention than either of them thanks to these bellows. So overall, I'd say as a dedicated espresso grinder, this is totally worth it. This has an edge compared to any other low-priced espresso grinder that I know of. I don't know of another $170 espresso grinder that does a decent job. They might be out there, but this is just the first one that I've encountered that I actually trust. Espresso comes out of it, great. You have ample settings, low retention, solid build quality, variable RPMs, which is just like kind of a fun feature, not necessarily useful, but fun. Those are the positives. And is it worth $170, $200? Absolutely yes. Let's talk about the negatives. It's not really good for anything but espresso. I may have mentioned this a couple times, but it's gonna, I mean, I'm sure if you're not a complete coffee nerd, then you're going to be okay with its performance for finer things. Like you can definitely make coffee with this, but it doesn't specialize in anything in espresso, and espresso is really where it sings. You're not going to be wanting to use this for, you know, other brew methods, except for maybe AeroPress, because that's kind of on the fine side. But it doesn't do a great job with pour overs or anything like that. You can do a lot of different brew methods with the fellow Opus or the Encore ESP. This guy really here just specializes in espresso. This is something I really want to mention in all my reviews of lesser known companies like this. This is a lesser known company. HiBREW, they've been around, I guess, since 2017. I'm going to say that a younger company without a dedicated base in the US, we don't know how easy it is to get parts for these. So if anything were to break or anything you know might need to repair on yourself, other companies like Baratza, especially Baratza, will make their parts really, really available. Other companies that are much more established like Breville and DeLonghi, it's easier to find parts for these things. These machines have just been around a long time. They have a dedicated customer service team. So that is one thing to be wary of. Whether or not this company is in business in 5 more years, and if you have problems with your grinder, I don't know. I would say that that is something to weigh in with your purchase. If you want to keep this for the long run, if you're the kind of person who likes to repair and work on machines, are you going to be able to fix this on your own? Are you going to be able to get help fixing this? That is something that's important. We don't want more waste in this world. We want things that are going to be around a long time. Another negative is that it's not really calibrated. So every time you take this apart and put it back together, it's going to be ever so slightly different. In other words, I feel like if you know that right now I'm at a 9 is the perfect setting, you take it apart, you clean it, you might find that that's going to slip a little bit towards a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right of the 9. So that is something to know, that this is going to be you're going to be very active in the use of your grinder. You're going to be making little tiny micro adjustments often. Another negative is that it's hard to see your settings. So though it does have a little indicating arrow here, it's down below, and then you have this black collar around here. It's kind of guesswork to see about where you're lining things up. So it's gonna, though it is, you can say like, oh, this is right about at a 10 right now. It's not exactly easy to see or very easy to keep track of. So it's going to be more of, you're gonna have to develop a feeling for your grind. This is a kind of a funny negative here. The sticker on the top here of the bellows, it's a kind of a pain to take off. And once I do take it off, I'm going to imagine that there's going to be a lot of residue on there for a long time. I don't know, I just don't like it. I think that was a silly place to put a sticker. That's a silly negative. Hey, that's all for today. I am going to ask that you guys give me a quick like, maybe subscribe, maybe leave me a comment. Tell me know your experiences with this grinder, if you like it, if you've had it for a while. I've only had this one for a few months, so maybe you've had it longer and you've encountered positives or negatives. I'd love to hear about that. I also want to mention that anything you see in this video, there are affiliate links. Though the HiBREW link will not be an affiliate link. I don't have an affiliate relationship with HiBREW, and that is the cheapest way to buy the grinder. And I recommend, if you're going to buy this grinder, go directly through HiBREW, as long as the price is still down that low and there's no shipping costs. That seems to be a less expensive way, though I do know Amazon is easier for returns and things like that, so you can weigh that on your own. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you all. I don't know, this is fun. I'm having fun. Thank you. I hope you got some value out of this video. See you later. Bye-bye.